Hey, it's RKA coming at you live today, Facebook Live. Oh my goodness, I'm freaking out. And the name of the game today is your website holding you back? And we're going to have some fun today. I want to keep it short and sweet so that if you're not joining us live, you can review and you're not going to get caught up in 30, 40, 50 minutes of me talking. Let's just keep it short and sweet and get down to business. I'm so happy to have you here. And just so you know, I'm kind of a noob at the Facebook Live game. This is my first public Facebook Live ever. So be gentle and know that I might not see all your comments as they're coming up live, but I love ya. I'll be responding as soon as I get off this live and talking to you. So thanks for joining me today. Okay. So the name of the game today is your website holding you back? Is your website standing in your way? Hey, Raven, great to see you here. And I'm going to start off with a little example. I'm going to use myself as an example. And funny that Raven's here with us today live because it was her that I was having the conversation with. It was a couple months ago, and I'm planning kind of my year and what I'm going to be doing for the year in terms of my marketing. And so, and just to give you a little inside, peek, Raven Robinson, or otherwise known as Veranda Lane, is an amazing biz mentor, coach, and so she's been mentoring me on improving my marketing and giving me that, that outside view of my marketing. And so we're having a conversation about all the things that I'm going to do for my marketing this year. And I'm telling her, I just redesigned my website this fall, but I'm not loving it. My header image, my blog post, I'm insecure about my website. And I'm telling her all the things that I want to change because if I don't, they're going to hold me back. And she's like, but let me ask you a question, Rachel. Is your website actually holding you back? Is your website actually getting in the way of you making money? Is your website, as it is today, actually getting in the way of you getting clients? And when I thought about that and was honest with myself, the answer was no. My website actually wasn't standing in my way. My website wasn't holding me back. My website wasn't keeping me from getting new clients. My website, but who was holding me back? It was me. And my web insecurity, which we all go through, I know, and I'm one of you. You look at your website and you're like, it's ugly, everybody hates it, I gotta redesign it. But the truth is that 9 times out of the 10, that's probably not the case. So I want to talk to you today about how you know if your website is holding you back and what to do about it. And so a quick other example to kind of lead us off. A couple weeks ago, I'm on the phone with a potential client. We're on a sales call and we're talking about her website. And, the first thing she says out the gate to me is, I get clients through my site. People are contacting me and I'm, honestly pretty full up. I just wish I could have 1 or 2 more clients. That really is all I need. I need 1 or 2 more clients. And we're having this conversation about investing all this time and money in redesigning the website. And what we realize is it's not a website problem. As she had said right out the gate, my website is not, I'm still getting clients, I'm still getting leads, people are still hiring me, and really all I need are 1 to 2 more people. Interesting, right? And so what we determined right there on that call is no, she didn't really need my services. She didn't need to invest in a big fancy redesign. She probably needed to pivot a few of her marketing activities and add maybe some new marketing activities or do some new things there, but redesigning the website actually wasn't what she needed to do. And so this inspired me after having that call and kind of reflecting on my own website shame. This inspired me to kind of bring this to you and share my experience with you so that you can save time and money and really focus on the things in your business that are actually going to move you forward instead of holding you back or just keeping you distracted from what really needs to happen to move you forward. So what I want to talk about first is how do you know if your website is holding you back? There's a few key areas where I see clients who definitely need a web redesign and definitely should be talking maybe to a web designer or developer or a marketing person to help them improve. Number 1 out the gate is people don't know what to do there. So they get to your website and they're confused. What do I click? Where do I go? There's a billion things going on maybe, or maybe there aren't that many things going on, but the action step that you want to take people to take, like for example, signing up for your newsletter or maybe having a call with you or reaching out to you via your contact form or, purchasing something, that action step is hidden on the site. You can't figure out what you're supposed to do. So that's the number 1 way that your website can be holding you back. It's a hot mess. There's tons of stuff going on. People get there and they don't know what the heck to do. And so they don't do anything. They bounce off because you've got a precious little amount of time. I mean, there's so many studies out there that say you have 3 seconds to grab people's attention, or you have 10 seconds, or you have 1 second, or less than a second. Well, you know, I don't know exactly how many seconds you have, but let's just say it's less than 5 seconds that you have to grab your visitors' attention and keep them here and pull them deeper into your website. So yeah, you know, in those first few seconds that people are on the site, you do want to make it clear, what do you want people to do there? So that's the number one thing, you know, that can hold you back and hold and get in a way that your website is standing in your way, and that is when people get there and they don't know what the heck to do. Number two, another way that your website can be standing in the way or holding you back is because it's not saving you time and it's not automating the things that you need to. So I see this a lot with older websites that were built in maybe 2010 or 2008, or, you know, not in 2017. Websites that are still relying on old tech and therefore holding people back because, you know, they're adding more steps to the process. So what would be an example of this? For me, for example, when somebody reaches out to me and they want to initiate a relationship, or they want to talk to me about their website, they're going to go through a few steps. Number one, they're going to fill out an intake form, an application. Number two, they're going to sign up for a call with me. And then number three, we're going to get on that call. So in the old days of business back in the day, all of that stuff would happen manually. Someone would have to email me, and then I would email them the form, and then we would go back and forth manually about what time works for you, what time works for you. So one thing that I did in the last few years to upgrade my own website and to make it, you know, save me time and money was to automate those things. So somebody goes to my website, they click on a button, right there is the form, they can fill it out. Right there, after they fill out the form, they can schedule a call. They don't have to go manually through me or my assistant or anything like that. They can just schedule that call. And that's saving me tons of time and money, you know, because I'm not worrying about going back and forth, and the website is doing that work for me. So another way that your website can be standing in your way or holding you back is simply by not automating all the things that it can. And this, you know, you can apply this to so many different things. You can, you know, e-commerce and all that. So when you're selling products online, there are so many things that you can do to streamline, you know, the behind the scenes of your business, and use your website as a tool to do that. So if your website is old and forcing you to do everything your damn self or everything manually, then that might be another kind of warning sign that your website is standing in your way or holding you back in your business. And number three, what's another way that your website can hold you back? And this is the one that most people come to me and they think, this is me, Rach. And it is if your website is butt ugly. Okay, and as I said, this is most of the people who come to me and they want to redesign are under the impression that they have got the ugliest website on the internet and they're ashamed to share it, and they don't want to market it because they're so ashamed of their site. And I gotta tell you, 9 times out of 10, as I said before, that is actually not the case. Now, here's my invitation to you. If you're thinking that maybe your website is butt ugly, please reach out to me. I will be happy to tell you for free. But guess what? Probably not. And this is another example of where probably you are standing in your own way as opposed to the website itself standing in your own way. Because so many people get caught up in how beautiful their website is. And when I go back to that example that I gave you before of the client that I had a few weeks ago that reached out to me and maybe wanted a new web redesign, her website, it was not the most beautiful website on the block. Now, it wasn't the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my life, but it wasn't the prettiest, it wasn't the most modern, it wasn't the most sleek and polished. It really was, kind of a basic website. But funny enough, so many people, you would think that as a web designer, I wouldn't want you to know this, right? That I'm going to say, oh, it's all about design. Design is all, design is what's going to move you forward. A beautiful website is what you need. And the truth is, that's not the case. This is a self-defeating statement, but I gotta be real with you guys, because nothing breaks my heart more than a client coming to me and spending tons of time and tons of money on a web redesign when that's not actually what they need, and then they don't see that investment come right back. Because I say this all the time, and I'll say it again, when you redesign a website, when you invest in a new website, that is not a boomerang investment. It isn't, I invest all this money today and tomorrow the money is rolling in. That's just not how it works. So I see this so often that clients come to me and they want to redo their websites for cosmetic reasons. They spend tons of cash and then they launch it and they don't get the results that they're seeking. And that is a reflection of the fact that it really wasn't their website or their design necessarily that was holding them back. It was probably a combination of other things. Their marketing, their positioning, oftentimes their messaging, and I'm going to have a Facebook Live next week to talk about all the things that you should invest in before you hire a web designer. Again, this is a self-defeating statement, you would think, because I'm a web designer, right? You would think I would want you to hire me, but the truth is what I want is for you to be successful online, and what I want is for you to have a website that's working for you and your business. And sometimes it's not, cosmetic upgrades that are going to do that. So the main ways that your website can be, standing in your way would be, one, people don't know what the heck to do there. It's a hot mess. There's tons of stuff going on. It's big, jumble, or the action steps you want to take are hidden away and it's just not clear. What do I do next? I land on your website. What do I do next? I don't know. That, people are going to bounce. So that's number one. People don't know what the heck to do on your site. Number two is you're not automating the things that you could automate. You are spending time and money doing things that your website could automate for you. So another way your website might be holding you back or standing in your way is simply by not utilizing all of the, the tools that we have available to us in 2017. And finally, number three, the minority of cases is that your website is so damn ugly that people are going there and bouncing off. And as I said, most of my clients think that's them. They're like, it's me, I got the ugly website. And I'm telling you, most of the time, that's not true. Most of the time it's in your head. Just like me as a web designer, every time I redesign my site, I immediately say, oh gosh, I gotta do it again. But if I did it again, if I focus my time and energy on redesigning as opposed to, showing up, creating content like I'm doing right now, being visible, connecting with clients, if I focus on designing as opposed to those things, I would be holding myself back. So I gotta tell you, if you're afraid that maybe your website is too ugly for you to be moving forward in your business, reach out to me. I'll be happy to do an audit for you free of charge, and probably, spoiler alert, it's probably not the case. So, all right, we've gone over how can your website be standing in your way? How can your website be holding you back? Let's talk about what to do about it. The first thing that I want to tell you, number one, is what is the number, you need to answer this question. What is the number one thing that you want people to be doing on your website? The number one thing. So often people come to me and they're like, well, I want them to buy stuff and I want them in my newsletter. I'd love if they read some blogs. It'd be cool if they contacted me. It'd be sweet if they shared stuff with their friends. And now we've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things that they want clients to do on their website. Well, I'm sorry, but that's just not happening. People got a short attention span in 2017, unfortunately. So you got to boil it down. What is the number one thing that you want people to do on your website? And let me caution you. A lot of people think, well, they want people to buy. They're like, oh, I want somebody to buy my stuff, And, unless you are somebody like Amazon.com selling books or selling stuff, people go there with the express purpose of finding and buying what they're looking for. The truth is, you're going to need to have 5 to 6 interactions with your clients before they're ready to buy from you. So if you're saying the number one thing I want people to do on my website is buy from me, that might be one of the things that's holding you back. Probably, more likely than not, the number one thing you want people to do on your website is you want to draw them deeper into a relationship with you. Whether that's, reading your blogs, whether that's, signing up for a free discovery session with you, whether that's getting on your list. But we want to get really clear about what that first number one thing you want people to do on your site is, and then make sure that your website reflects it. And go back to your site and audit it and say, this is the thing that I need people to do. Is my site organized? Yes, Emily, clear call to action. That's what it's all about. And Emily is an amazing copywriter, and I'll be talking about copywriters like her next week when I talk about what to invest in before you hire a web designer. I guess, spoiler alert, copywriter is on the list. So clear calls to action and getting really clear about what is the number one thing that you want people to do on your site. Okay, number two going back to what can you do about it? How can you, if you've determined that your website is standing in your way, what can you do about it? And that would be to discover ways that your website can automate different things and save you time by bringing in tech so that so that you don't have to do everything manually. And I used the example before of, for me, when somebody comes to my website and they're interested in working with me, there's a whole bunch of automated steps that happen without me having to do a thing. They can happen in my sleep. And so somebody, they'll click on let's work together, and they go and they fill out an intake form, and that takes them to a screen that asks them to schedule a call, and they get an auto responder from my email list that also reminds them to schedule a call, and all of those things happen without me having to do a thing. So that's an example of using different digital tools to automate processes and systems for you to save yourself time and money. Because if you're doing all that stuff manually, you're going to get burnt out. So number 2 is, thinking of ways, how can my website automate the stuff that I'm doing manually? And if you're feeling confused about that, or you're like, well, I don't know. Well, yeah, that's the time that you might want to reach out to a web designer like myself and have a chat and say, all right, this, and this are what my business are doing online. How can I make this more streamlined? How can I save myself more time? How can I use all the tools available today to focus on what the most important thing is for my business and not get distracted by doing all this day-to-day kind of piddly stuff. So that's number 2. Finally, the final question that I would have you ask yourself is, does my design reflect my brand and reflect my ideal client? Does my design reflect what my ideal client is looking for? Because, when I talked before about it's very unlikely that your website is too ugly, even though most people think that's them, they think their website is too ugly, I talked before about, that's rarely the case. Again, the offer's on the table. If you'd like me to do an audit of your website and tell you if I think it's butt ugly or not, I'm perfectly willing to do that, no charge on the house. But I gotta tell you, spoiler alert, it's probably not. But if you are convinced that your design is holding you back, it's not enough that you like your design. Yes, and I see this all the time. People in Facebook groups, they'll say, hey, I'm getting a logo redesign. What do you think? Random group of people, and these group of people, they might not be the ideal client. They might not have anything to do with your business or brand, and you're listening to their opinion about it. So it's not about choosing a designer, looking at your design through the lens of, do I like it? Or does my friends like it? Or does my Aunt Sally like it? Shout out to my Aunt Sally. It's not about that. It's about, looking at your design through the lens of, if my ideal client were looking at this design, is this something that would land with them? And if you're not sure how to figure that out, because it's a little vague, it's like, well, what do I know? How do I know if my ideal client likes it? One really cool step, or one way to do that, is look at your competitors. And I say this in a loving way because, it's a big world out there, guys. We don't have to be, fighting against each other. So, you can look at your competitors and they can really be amazing tools for understanding your ideal client even more. Look at what your successful competitors are doing, or other people who are in the space in a similar niche as you. Look at their design and see how they're using design and layout to reach your ideal client. Because, if you're looking at your competitors have the same ideal client as you in most cases, so they can be a really valuable, useful tool for kind of reflecting and figuring out, okay, this is what my competitors are doing. It looks like this is working, this is not working. And the real question is, how can you do it differently? How can you do it better? Maybe your competitor has done A, B, C right, but they left out D, or they're, and so I would say take a peek at your competitors, see what they're doing. That can give you some real insights into design, design as well as copy, messaging, positioning that's going to land and resonate with your ideal client. And if you see that they're missing something, that's your opportunity to get there and, do it better than anybody else. So that's it, guys. That's my topic today. Is your website holding you back? And this is the question you want to ask yourself before you invest a ton of time and money into a fancy web designer, before you invest a ton of time and money into doing it yourself. Whether you're DIYing it or hiring someone like me, you really want to analyze, way before you make that step, is my website actually standing in my way? Or could there be a better use of my time and my marketing and all that kind of stuff? So I really appreciate you being here today for my first public Facebook Live. It was scary, it was freaky, and I did promise awkward segues in song, so I'll just say goodbye. Thank you. That's awkward. That is awkward. See, I told you it'd be awkward. Okay. See you soon.